Welcome to the final Heart to Heart. Today, the tables have turned, and I will be interviewing my mom today. Hi!
Hi.
How are you feeling today?
Nervous?
Nervous? Well, don't be. I only have 11 questions.
Okay, only 11.
And it would be more of a rapid fire style than elaborating on it. So
Sounds
first
good.
question, right here, right now, how are you feeling about the situation? Are you okay? How often do your feelings fluctuate?
Wow, that's a good question. How often do my feelings fluctuate? A lot. Can I elaborate?
Of course. Sorry, I meant that I'm not gonna too much talk, but you can elaborate.
So from day one of this journey, everyone was telling us, take it one day at a time. But when you're actually on this journey, you can't take it one day at a time because one day, 24 hours, it's too much. It's too daunting. So what I realized is I need to take it one moment at a time. So at any given moment, things can change at the turn of a dime. But right now, I feel really good. Like we're at a good place. Dad is doing really, really well these days.
I agree, yeah.
He's in good spirits, mental health-wise. He's super positive. And a lot of that has to do with the exercise and that he's been doing. So right now, at this point, I feel really good.
You know how you mentioned how it's fluctuating, it fluctuates often. I'm sure there's a lot of downtimes. And what are some ongoing challenges that you face for the past 1 year?
Wow, that's a good one. Ongoing challenges. I think the first 6 months were the most difficult. I didn't know what I was doing, and just having to organize everything and make all these doctor's appointments and talk to all these specialists and therapists and try to get an appointment down. That was really, really challenging. Another thing that was really challenging was applying for all the government services. So Joshua was working full-time when all of this happened. So we had to apply for EI sickness benefit. That was very, very challenging and very frustrating as well. And I do hope in the future to make a video about that, just so that I can give just more helpful advice to families who need to do something like this. And then after that, we had to apply for a CPP disability, and that was even more of a challenge. So all of these things, health-wise, taking care of his health and making those appointments, taking care of just all the legal government insurance, things like that, that was very difficult. At the same time, taking care of you guys and just making sure that we're all good and, as a family, we're still staying close and working full time on top of that. And little things like grocery shopping, meal planning, just all the day-to-day things. I think that was the most difficult. But I feel like I'm getting better at this. I feel like I'm getting a better handle at this. And there was one point, remember about a year ago, or no, about 9 months ago, when everything in the house started breaking down.
Oh, yeah.
Our heater broke down.
Oh my God.
Our
rice cooker, broke
our
down.
garage, our door.
Yep.
Everything started breaking down, one after another. And as soon as we put out one fire, another fire would start. We put out that fire, another fire would start. And I felt like there was no end. And I was just so exhausted. But there is one thing that this lady in my support group said. She said, Esther, the fires will not stop. There will always be a fire for you to put out, but you're going to become a stronger firefighter.
Oh, that's deep.
That's really deep, right? And
yeah.
that really stuck with me, that I can't control the circumstances. Things are always going to break down. Things are always going to need my attention, but I'm going to be that much stronger at handling the situation. So I'm looking forward to the day when I become a stronger firefighter.
Love that. Okay, I'm excited for that day too. Kind of leading on to that, kind of connecting to that, what would you say was the hardest part of the year? I feel like you mentioned a lot of challenges, and we definitely did have a lot of challenges in the past year, but what would you say if there's one thing that was the hardest thing? what would it be?
I don't know if there is one hard thing. Like, I just have to talk about one hard thing?
Well, if not, you can elaborate.
Well, what would be your one hard thing?
Oh, I didn't expect to get a question in this interview because I'm the interviewer. But I think for me, in Dad's situation, going to school was really hard. Just like being in first year, and even now, actually, I'm better now, way better in a way stable situation now. But just first year where everything is just so new, that was one of the hardest things because it was a new environment that I was going into. So yeah, that would be my hardest thing.
How am I going to top that? Okay. I think for me, one of the challenges, which might not be as obvious, is sometimes I second guess myself. And I wonder if what I'm doing for Dad is the right thing.
Sometimes?
Yeah, I do, right?
Sometimes?
And I because everyone has an opinion. And everyone has like, oh, I heard that, my neighbor's cousin's friend or whatever had a stroke and, they did this and this was really helpful or things like that. But the thing is, like every single stroke is different. You could meet 1,000 people, put them in one room, they've all had a stroke. They all have a unique story because every part of the brain is going to affect different things in your body and in your life. So no two strokes can ever be the same. So everyone has a different path, a different journey, a different recovery journey. And I think just listening to people's opinions or voices, I think that was very difficult for me, just second guessing myself. Am I doing the right thing? And I think sometimes we need to, how horses have those blinders on just so that they can focus and just go where they're supposed to go. I think sometimes we need that. And sometimes we need to just shut out the noise or other people's opinions that may not matter. I think I just need to shut it out and I know what we need to do and just focus on that.
I would like to elaborate on that. And I love how you kept mentioning the word sometimes. Kind of building off of that. But sometimes...
All the time?
No. Sometimes other people's opinions help you too. Like your support group that you have, like their opinions and like their experiences, you quite mentioned how like they help, they actually support you and all that. So I think it's important to like differentiate what's good for you and what's not.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
But yeah, I love it.
Yes.
100%. But 100%. I love your opinion.
Yes.
I love your opinion.
Thank you.
What do you miss most about Dad's pre-stroke or the pre-stroke life that you have?
Yeah. I think I miss being taken care of. And I know that sounds selfish, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Joshua's love language is acts of service.
Oh, yeah,
and one example is he loves to cook for the family. And he loves to just see everyone's reactions and just watching everyone enjoy the food that he prepared. That's his greatest joy. So acts of service is his love language. And he just took such good care of me as his wife. And he took such good care of the three of you as Dad. And I miss that. I miss him taking care of us. And he still does. He still does, but it's very different. It's a different kind of care. It's a different kind of service. But I see him working so hard to do what he can within his capacity to help out and to do things productively and to show his love and his care for us. But it's just different. And I think I miss that the most. I miss him cooking. I think that's what I miss. I miss him cooking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that. This question is something that you've asked a couple of us. What is something that you now have that you initially thought that you wouldn't get back?
A lot of things. I didn't think that Dad would be alive. I didn't think Dad would be here.
Yeah.
Just from the initial assessment at the hospital and what the doctors were saying, I didn't think that he would be here, because in the best case scenario, it would be months and months in the hospital, and they didn't know if he would ever be able to make it through the night, or be able to speak again, or to be able to walk again. But it's the little things. Yeah. It's the little things that I miss, and it's the little things that I got back that I'm so grateful for. And we could sit here all night talking about all the things that, and I know we don't have all night, but one of our favorite things to do is to go to Stanley Park and walk the seawall in downtown Vancouver. It's about a 10-kilometer walk right at the Pacific Ocean, and you get the views of the mountains and the ocean as you walk. And that was one of our favorite things to do. We used to go all the way down there and do that about once a month. So we've been there over 100 times, and I never thought we would ever be able to do that again. But we did. Actually, 3 or 4 months post-stroke, we went there and we walked the seawall. It did take a lot longer than usual, and we had to stop a lot to give breaks and water breaks and whatnot, but we got that back. Sunday, December 17, 2023. It's a very special day as we wind up the year 2023. We are at, where are we, honey?
Stanley Park.
Yay! We're at Stanley Park, and this is the first time we've been here since Joshua's stroke. So it's been about 3.5 months since his stroke, and I honestly didn't think that we would ever be able to come here and try to walk this seawall the full 10 kilometers. So it's a beautiful day. We're so excited and super blessed. We got back just the silliness of Dad. You know how he likes to joke around and be goofy and silly and dance and sing. We got that back too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say we got it back. The stroke never took that away.
Yeah. Oh, I like the way you put it.
The stroke didn't
never
take that.
away. Yeah. Okay. What have you learned about yourself through this experience?
Goodness. What have you learned about me?
Again, I didn't expect it to get asked questions as the interviewer, but my answer is that I didn't know that you were this strong. And just the things that you do, just even making this YouTube channel, like, I think just you're really strong, and like, yeah,
I think that's what I would say about myself too, is that I didn't realize that I was this strong. But there's one thing that I'm learning about this, is that you're only strong when you have to be. Like, if you don't need to be strong or resilient, if there's no situation that pushes you to bring that out of you, you will never bring that out. Yeah. So I think we all have a certain level of strength and resilience within us. Yeah. It's just a matter of the specific situation that will draw that out of you. It's
yeah. Okay, so you learned that. You learned that about yourself. What have you learned about Dad through this experience?
Oh, he's I don't want to use the word strong again, but he definitely is. But he is so steady.
Steady.
Very, very steady. His mood does not fluctuate. Yeah. He is just even Steven, just steady. Very little things make him upset. Very little things ruffle his feathers. So during this whole time, he's the one who's been the rock out of our family still. And every day he still wakes up and he makes his bed every single day. So I wake up first, and I'm always down here. He'll wake up a little bit later. So he'll wake up, he'll make the bed perfectly. He will get ready, he will shave, he will get fully dressed, even when he's not going anywhere,
Yeah.
like even when he's staying at home and he doesn't have any appointments for the day, he will get ready and he has in his mind what he's going to do. He'll come down, he'll have his breakfast, his coffee, take his medicine, and then he will either, go and study or, exercise or start his daily routine. So very, very steady. I've always known that about Dad, but you see his true colors when something like this actually happens.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think he's like, I wonder how he's so steady amongst us, right? Because we're very up and down.
Yeah, you and
like
me.
Us,
Yeah,
we're
and
like
Justin.
oh,
the three
Justin
of us,
too. Like
we're just
we're flying, and we're like, yeah.
Jennifer's steady.
Jennifer is steady.
Jennifer is
Definitely
100% mini Joshua.
Yeah,
She takes after Dad.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you and Justin take after me more in terms of the emotions, just the up and down and the drama.
Yeah.
I think that's more me.
Yeah. Okay. So you learned that Dad is steady, or you again realize that Dad is steady. What did you learn about your kids?
Oh, this will be fun. Okay.
Let's go,
All
Jennifer,
right.
Justin, and
Okay.
Bethany.
Okay. So so I'm drinking, how people talk about the glass is half full or the glass is half empty.
Yeah.
And you know what that's referring to, right? When I think about Jennifer, I always knew that she was a mini Joshua and she's always like a rock. She is so steady, but I realized how strong and how steady she is and how super positive she is as well too.
She really
She's
is.
always looking for something positive, something good, something to be thankful for. Like that's who Jennifer is. And when I look at Joshua and Jennifer, to them, this glass, they wouldn't say it's half full. To them, this glass is overflowing with goodness.
Yeah.
Like that's their positivity.
Yeah.
This is overflowing with goodness. That's Jen. Would you agree?
I agree. Yeah.
Justin. Justin is most like me in the sense that he wears his heart on his sleeve. So very emotional, very expressive when it comes to his emotions. And we tend to lean more on the negative side, I think, Justin and I. So sometimes we would look at this and we wouldn't say, the glass is half empty. Sometimes we would be like, man, this glass is cracked.
This jar's cracked.
I think sometimes Justin and I, we have that tendency to just go down that rabbit hole and just, wallow in our misery and negativity. But you are you are right smack in the middle. I feel like you are the happy medium between me and Dad and Justin and Jen.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like the balance, like the equalizer.
You bring the balance and you stabilize us.
Okay. So you learned that about us through this experience?
Well, I've always known that about you, but it's just become much more evident during this time.
Okay. In your opinion, how did this experience add value to our family?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, thank you.
How did it add value? Well, I think it's taught us more about gratitude. It's taught us more about not taking things for granted, all the small moments. And it's opened our eyes to the other people who are hurting. And I think we've never really experienced something like this as a family where we went through such difficulty. And I think when we saw other people going through difficult times, we had compassion on them and we did whatever we could to help ease their burden. But I don't think we fully empathized with them. I don't think we fully knew what it was like to be in their shoes. So I think it has added value in the sense that it's grown our capacity for loving others and caring for others and showing empathy and grieving with others. I think in that way it's added value.
I'm glad. kind of shifting gears towards your channel and this
Canadian
channel,
Stroke
the
Survivors.
Canadian Stroke Survivors. What was your intention on creating this channel, and what do you want to achieve through this channel? I guess kind of those two kind of questions kind of link with each other.
So did you know that today is our 2-month anniversary on YouTube?
Today is our 2-month anniversary. Today is November 2nd.
We launched it on September 2nd. So we launched it on Labor Day because Joshua's stroke happened on a Labor Day. So we decided Labor Day, no matter what date it is in September, it's going to be our stroke anniversary. And so to remember our first stroke anniversary, we launched this channel. And I mentioned it in the first introductory video. So when I was, when Joshua was in the hospital, I was completely lost, didn't know what to do. So I started looking on YouTube for some stories of inspiration of real families. Now, there are a lot of videos out there talking about the medical aspects of stroke and what it is medically, but I didn't find any stories of real people going through this and how they went through this. And that's what I needed to hear. Later on, I did find some Instagram channels on this, and Instagram channels, is that right?
Instagram
Accounts,
yeah.
Okay, Instagram.
Accounts.
I did find some public Instagram accounts about stroke survivors. But at the time, and I think a lot of caregivers would agree, we don't have time to just be scrolling like this. We did not. My day started at 5 in the morning, and I don't have time to scroll. But I did have time to listen. So when I'm down here preparing food or washing the dishes or whatever, then I can turn on the phone, listen to something like a podcast or a YouTube video, but I couldn't find any YouTube videos. Specifically, I was struggling just navigating this Canadian system and knowing what to do, who to call, and what I'm supposed to be doing and what services are provided for Canadians. There was no information about that. And again, I looked to YouTube, but I couldn't find anything. But now I'm starting to find more information. So there is a lot of good information out there, but it's very few and far between. So I think the purpose of this channel was, number one, to inform, right? To provide information to other families who might be going through something like this. The other one is to educate, right? We knew very little about stroke and aphasia and invisible disabilities, so we want to educate, raise awareness, generate discussion so that more people will understand what this is, because it does affect so many Canadians and just people worldwide. And the third one is just to help encourage and inspire any families who are going through a hard time. And the fourth reason, which is, my personal selfish reason, is I wanted to leave a legacy for you guys. Like, I love telling stories.
Yeah.
And I wanted these stories to pass on throughout the generations for you guys to remember us in this way. And I wanted your kids and maybe kids' kids to know where we came from. So that's my personal agenda for starting the Canadian Stroke Survivors.
I love that. Yeah, thank you for those 4 points, very clear points. In your journal series, you always wear the same black shirt.
Yes.
And I remember I was the first one to do the heart-to-heart interview, and you were like, we're doing something a little different today. That's why I'm wearing a different shirt. And you mentioned your shirt. Would you mind spilling the tea on why do you wear the same black shirt on every journal video?
Okay, so, I'm a minimalist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
okay, right, okay.
I just want to say out there that I am a minimalist, and I started actively pursuing a minimalist life, I think, during COVID. Yeah. So 2020, at the tail end of 2020, and I will never, ever go back. It's changed my life for the better. It's simplified my life. So my wardrobe is extremely limited, right? I don't have a lot of clothes. So if you see me wear different clothes, well, they're not mine, they're hers or Jennifer's. Or sometimes I borrow Justin's clothes too. But to me, that black shirt was my YouTube uniform. So I'm just getting started on this. I have no idea what to do, and it takes a lot of time to prepare and just get started, and later on to edit and learning how to upload. And so it was outside of my capacity to start worrying about, well, what should I wear? You know, how should I do my hair? That's, to me, I'm sorry, that is not important for the purpose of my video. It is important to some content creators, but not for me. So I decided I am going to set up a YouTube uniform. So for this series, I'm just gonna wear a black shirt, simplify it. And then I thought, no one's even gonna notice. Well, until you brought it up. Yeah. I bet a lot of people didn't notice because you don't notice things like that. But we get so caught up with, you know, what to wear and how should I do my hair. It really doesn't matter. People don't care as much as you think that they care. And that's one of the things that I'm learning. So with this series, the Heart to Heart, because it is getting colder, like I can't wear a black t-shirt. So I said, okay, we're going to be wearing hoodies on this time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that reasoning. Coming to the last question. What do you want to say to the ones in your shoes?
To the caregivers? I think to the caregivers out there, I just want to say that I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I think what I would encourage you to do is give yourself permission to grieve, because you are grieving. You're grieving a loss, a great loss. And I think people think that you're only allowed to grieve when someone passes away. That is so untrue. You grieve whenever you lose something that is so special to you. And I know that my husband is still alive, and I'm so thankful for that every single day. But we lost so much of him. And I'm grieving that. I'm grieving the parts of him that we had lost. I'm grieving the lives, our old lives, and now we need to adjust to a new type of life. I'm grieving, you know, the dreams that we had for our future, and, you know, just all of those things. So I'm grieving. So I'm still continually going through those cycles of grief. So what I would say to other caregivers is give yourself permission to grieve and understand that that's what your body and your heart is feeling. And you will get through this, and you are definitely not alone.
You know what I want to say? To the caregivers, subscribe.
And like. And comment.
We do give like quality content. So I would do that. I 100% agree with that, but on top of that, just press that little red button down there.
Yeah. She's in marketing, by the way.
I think we already mentioned that. Anyways, thank you so much for the quality heart-to-heart interview. I had such a fun time. I hope you had a great time too. So that concludes our heart-to-heart, and that concludes our series on heart-to-heart. So we'll meet you again in a new series. Bye!
Bye!